Thanks for staying with us. So, the hijab controversy affecting 10 schools in Ilorin, Kwara State still lingers. Today on the show, we're going to be having the proprietor of one of the affected schools and also a representative from one of the state Islamic bodies to share the perspective. And the reason why we're talking about this is because these pupils are about to write their SSCE exams in a few weeks. And unfortunately, they have not been allowed to go to school. And this obviously is going to affect their examinations. And we're quite worried about the fact that they've been unable to resolve this issue as we speak. So right now we have two guests. First, we have Reverend Dr. Dada, who is the president, Kwara Baptist Conference, and the proprietor of the Baptist Secondary School, Surulere, Ilorin, Kwara State, joining us on the show. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the show. And we're also going to be having Alhaji Ibrahim Abdullahi, spokesman of the Kwara Muslim stakeholders. He'll be joining us in a minute. We've been trying to reach him, but we'll try to get him in a few minutes. But we're going to start the conversation with Reverend Dada. So, Reverend, we got reports that so far the government of Kwara State has instructed that these schools must reopen, allowing these pupils with hijab to start. Why have you, your school and others refused to open schools even after the government have directed so?
Thank you very much for granting me this privilege and this opportunity to share with our viewers at home. The government of Kwara State ordered that the school be reopened and asked them to wear hijab. The reason why we are doing what we are doing is simply because Kwara State government is not respecting the rule of law. Nobody in this country is above the law. We all know that if a matter is in the court, the status quo must be maintained. This case is in the court. The court has not given a judgment, and the state government is already making a pronouncement. And of course, you know that that's contempt of the court.
So help us define status quo.
If the state government will not obey the rule of law, is a way of inviting or leading the state to a state of anarchy.
Reverend Dada, help us understand status quo. Are you suggesting that these pupils were not wearing hijab before? Is that a status quo before the issue was taken to court?
Yes, the issue that we took to court was the issue that the state government should give us back our schools. These are mission schools. These are government grant-aided schools. The missionaries and the churches started these schools, and we have been operating it and running it over the years. Some of these schools have existed for 70, 80 years, and we have a uniform that we've been using right from then. How come that somebody is now saying you want to wear compulsory hijab in the mission schools that we have been operating over the years, and hijab was not part of our uniform?
Okay, our other guest is here. I must acknowledge him. Sheikh, welcome to the show, sir. Are you there? I wanted to see your face. Okay, so I think he's still trying to get connected. Go ahead,
yes.
Mariam.
So I'm happy you mentioned the uniform part and the fact that it's a mission school, because one of the questions everyone has been asking is it a mission school? Is it a public mission school? Is it a government-funded public school that used to be owned by missionaries? So what exactly is the status as of today for these 10 schools that we're talking about?
Thank you very much. The state of the school is that it is a mission school grant-aided by the government. It is not a public school. Our school is a government grant-aided school. The government over the years since 1974 has been offering grant in aid, which is the responsibility of every government to support, whether in education, in manufacturing, in agriculture, in whatever sector. The government's role is to support some of these private schools and private investment. So right from 1974, These schools have been grant-aided by the government. Till date, that has been what is on ground. It is not a public school. It is mission school that grant-aided by the government.
I have to bring in my other guests, but I wanted you to clarify something based on what Mariam just said. Let's be sure, hijab is not the issue in the courts. The issue in court is ownership. Is it private or is it the government? That's the issue in court, not the hijab, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let me let Bisi come in here.
So I wanted to follow up. So, you know, you mentioned initially that you people have asked that the government return the school to the missions. And you're saying again that these are grant-aided schools. So if the schools do not belong to the government and they are giving the grants, why are you not asking the government to return the schools back to the mission? I'm a bit lost, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. The agreement that was signed in 1974 when David Bamikoye was the governor of Kwara State, it was the memorandum of understanding that the government of Kwara State will grant aid the school, and at any point in time when the government, when either the government or the proprietor feel is satisfied with whatever help that is coming, if any of the party can decide, to stop the aid. And for us, we are saying we are satisfied with what the government have done for us thus far, and we want to have our schools back.
Okay, yes, Tokwe, go ahead, please.
There are a few. I remember when we had the CPS for Kwara State come on the show a few weeks back or last week. He mentioned the fact that there are only two kind of schools in Kwara State. There are public schools and there are private schools. He also mentioned the fact that, so when you say mission school that is being granted, I think definitely it is important that the court gives a proper clarity on what that means. However, what I'm trying to understand, is it that these children have been in this school without wearing a hijab for a few years? Why the sudden clamor for hijab now? What is it that we're not seeing?
Are they new intakes?
Are they new intakes that are clamoring for hijab, or is it people that were already in the school? What exactly is the story behind the scene?
Okay, now the question you are asking is the question every one of us are asking. This school have been there over the years, 70 years. The school have been there. We have our uniform that we'll be using over the years, and we don't discriminate. And we allow both Muslims and Christians to come to this school, and they have the official uniform that they're wearing. The girls, the Muslim girls, wear beret, including Christian girls as well. Beret is our uniform for the girls to wear. And we are surprised that to the court, we did not go to court with any issue of hijab. And the case is in the court. The case that is in the court is that government of Kwara State, we appreciate you for what you have done thus far. Give us back our schools, and we don't want the use of hijab in our schools.
Okay, let me see.
And
all right, Reverend, let me pause you for a second.
Why the clamor for hijab now?
Okay, we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll try to focus on Alhaji for the next 15 minutes. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still on this issue of the controversy going on with the 10 schools in Kwara State, but having some serious technical issues getting in touch with Alhaji. Hopefully we can call him on the phone and speak to him directly, because it's important we get his perspective on this topic. But Reverend Dada, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
So many have said that this whole issue is politically motivated. What are your thoughts on this? People are saying that it is directly from the governor's office trying to incite some kind of violence, because we've seen people actually throwing stones, destroying property, and others protesting this issue. So in your view, what's the political element that plays out in this whole situation?
We are convinced that it's politically motivated. We are convinced, because if it is not politically motivated, why will a case be in court and the governor will be making a pronouncement? Number two, if it is not politically motivated, I think everybody, supposed to say over the school, but you refuse not to go to school, and you started stoning the church and destroying the property of the church. If it is not political motivated, why will people come out en masse, to say they are going to burn down our church and they are going to burn down the school? If it is not political motivated, I think every Nigerian is supposed to see their responsibility that the education of our children should be a priority to every one of us. Why destroying the church?
Right.
Why destroying the church?
So,
Okay.
Sir,
Go ahead.
Sir, the truth is, they say when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers.
They suffer.
And
Yes.
now the case is for these children. What we want is for them to be able to sit down for their exams and write these exams. What can be done on both sides? For one, a stopgap resolution so that children can write their exams. Secondly, long term, what can we do so we can amicably come to a resolution here? First, a stopgap so they can write their exams. And then secondly, long term, what can be done? What do you want?
We're saying what's the way forward? What should be done? Kwara State is a state of harmony, and we are all praying for peace. Knowing fully well that there cannot be progress, there cannot be development in the atmosphere of war, in the atmosphere of chaos. The way forward, number one, let the Kwara State government respect the rule of law. That's number one way forward. Number two, allow the students to resume back to school with the status quo. No use of hijab because this case is in court. Allow the court to do their job, and after they have done their job, it will still come back to the table of His Excellency, the Governor of Kwara State, to implement whatever that the court is saying.
Okay.
I think he's back. I think
Alhaji, are you there? Hello.
Thank you very much. I'm on with you.
Okay, I wanted to be sure it was Alhaji I'm speaking to.
Morayo Afolabi.
Okay, sir. All right, thank you very much. Sorry we couldn't see
You
you.
are correct.
Okay, great. Now that you're on, so let me start over again.
I'm Johnny.
How did this issue of hijab controversy start from your end? We've heard from the Reverend. At what point?
Thank you very much.
Yes, let me just yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, it started in 2012,
Okay,
and it was not a hijab issue.
okay,
It was the visit of CAN members in Kwara to the former governor of Kwara State, requesting that their schools be handed over back to them.
okay.
And the governor asked them, which schools? He said the Christian missionary schools in Kwara,
Okay.
like Bishop Smith, like Baptist, Cherubim and Seraphim. They said yes. Okay, if these schools are the ones you are referring to, they are public schools, government schools. Muslims have their own too. They handed over the schools to us, and they have become public schools. Even when I was in Kaduna, that was the governor saying that. When I was in Kaduna, the time they took over the schools, I was a student, and St. John's College, Kaduna, where I attended, the name of the school was changed. The only problem Kwara has is because they have not changed the names of the schools. But schools handed over to the government by the Muslim and Christian missions have become public schools.
Right.
We cannot hand them over to you. And they pressurized the governor for about a year until 2013, when they threatened the governor that if he didn't hand over the school and he didn't, I caught the case lasted for 3 years. By May 16, 2016, schools belonged to the government, having been taken over 45 years ago. They now went back to the former governor to settle out of court, and the governor told them that we can't settle out of court since you went to court and you lost. The only option for you is to appeal. They appealed in 2016, and in 2019, September 19, Court of Appeal delivered judgment that the schools are public schools, run on public expense for the past 45 years or so. They can never be returned because they have been government property. the judgment also states clearly, the presiding justice stated clearly, that those who brought this case to us, Kwara Khan, they are meddlers interlopers. That is, those who do not have business with what they have brought to them, they now dismiss their case.
Okay.
So that's how they lost for the second time.
Okay.
They didn't bother to go to Supreme Court up till now. And I can tell you that they have not gone to Supreme Court. What Reverend Victor Dada said is not true. Okay. They have just gone to Supreme Court about a week ago, asking for stay of execution. And the judgment of Court of Appeal was a declaratory judgment. We can never be stopped by a stay of execution. So when they served the governor that they had gone to court, the governor passed it to the legal department, that's the Ministry of Justice. And the interpretation is that no stay of execution on a declaratory judgment that has been declared by the Court of Appeal.
So the government is right to
that said that they are in Supreme Court. They are not yet in Supreme Court. They are yet to appeal.
Okay.
And I think they believe that if they went on appeal in 2019, they will lose. That's why they didn't go to court. How Hijab matter started was the fact that since they lost the case in September 2019, they started removing hijab from the heads of Muslim students. Before then, Muslim students in all these schools and other schools, including government established schools, they've been using hijab. They've not been stopping them from using hijab. But to show that they are frustrated about the two judgments, they started removing hijab from the heads of the Muslim students. Muslims in Kwara have been very, very tolerant. It means that in the last 19 months, they've been removing hijabs. And we've been reporting to the government that they are violating the right of these innocent students and children in our schools. The government was asking us to wait, that they would take action. Okay. So it's because they didn't take action. We now believe that we should follow our children to their various schools and enforce the court judgment of their fundamental human rights. Hijab did not start the issue. Return of School started it. They were frustrated with the two judgments, and that's why they went and started removing the hijab. That's just the issue.
It's always good to hear two sides of the story.
All right, Alhaji. I wanted to ask, how many other public schools does the government of Kwara State have that is not related to mission schools? Are there other government schools that are not linked to mission schools? That's one. Now, secondly, I remember
I can tell you for sure. Okay.
Okay, I remember that in Delta State, when the state took over the schools from the mission, I attended one of those states, AGGS, it was Anglican Girls Grammar School. When they took over, they changed it to Asaba Girls Grammar School. Why hasn't the government changed the names of the schools if it actually belongs to the government?
Let me answer that question. That fault belongs to those who are in government between 1974 and 1976, when the schools were handed over voluntarily by both Muslim and Christian missions. That was their own fault. But what they said was that, we wanted to honor those who initially established the schools. That's why we retained their name. So Bishop Smith retained his name, Mount Carmel, and all others. Muslim schools too retain their name. And South Islam secondary schools, we have many in Kwara. And South Islam secondary school, we have many in Kwara. Jamaatul Nasir Islam College, Muslim Council College, all over the state. So the quantum, the actual percentage of schools handed over by both Muslim and Christian missions will not be more than 15%. All other 85% schools were established by either the community or the government. So putting 15% of Christian and mission schools together with the already established government school and community schools that were handed over, put it 100%.
Okay,
so
okay, Alhaji, let me get a few more questions in for you.
Christian schools in Kwara, they are not more than 15%.
Okay,
go ahead.
Thank you.
I have this question that was sent to me, and I just wanted to pose it to you, sir, that the Muslim schools that you highlighted, do they allow Christians come into the schools without having to wear hijab? Like those Ansaruddin schools, the music community school, is hijab part of the uniform in such a way that even those that are Christians are made to wear hijab? Are there Christians in the schools?
Alhaji. Alhaji, that question is for you, sir. Hello? Okay, so we're trying to get Alhaji back. Okay, so you hold that question, I'll bring it back to Alhaji. Let me move back to Reverend, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, so I'd like you to respond to what Alhaji Abdullahi said earlier concerning the court judgment that is standing and the fact that these pupils had always worn hijab. That was 2019 that these Christian missionaries started removing the hijabs from them, and that's what started the problem.
Thank you very much. That's a very wrong assumption. There wasn't any Muslim girl wearing hijab in all our mission schools right from the time of inception. That has never happened. It has never happened. The clamor for the use of hijab started around 2019, that they are clamoring for it. Now, on the second question, that I think you are asking two questions.
No, that's your own question. That's your own question. The other question is for Alhaji. So
That
you were
are
saying,
Muslims.
Okay.
so you are confirming to us, Reverend, that
I want to confirm as well.
Yes.
When Alhaji said that, the percentage of mission schools in Kwara is
15%.
about 15%. Facts are there on the table. The Kwara State government, as of today, is having about 800 plus schools in Kwara State. But mission schools alone in Kwara State is 316.
I'm not sharing with
316 mission schools
I have
out
no
of
question
800
to me.
plus.
Right.
Less than 900 schools in Kwara. Mission had over 300 schools. You can guess what percentage is that. Thank you.
So have you taken this case to Supreme Court, yes or no? Have you filed the report?
Yes, the case, you know, when they say we just went to Supreme Court, the case that have been appealed since 2019, and he said we are just going there. The facts are there. The governor had the facts. The governor had the facts.
Right.
He had those papers.
Okay, no problem. Let me bring Alhaji very quickly. Unfortunately, I have to wrap up on
Yes,
this.
are you back to me?
We've
Are you
run out
back
of
to
time,
me?
Reverend. Yes, Alhaji, I'm back to you. So the question, therefore, that Tokwe had asked you before the break was, are Christian pupils allowed to go to the Muslim schools without wearing hijabs?
Christians going to Muslim schools?
Yes.
Without wearing hijab?
Are they allowed to?
Even now, Muslim girls are not compelled to wear hijab to Muslim schools. The stand has been that for any willing female student who puts hijab, she must be allowed. In Christian schools, in Muslim schools, in government-established schools, they are free not to put hijab if they don't want to put it. But I want to state clearly that the federal government has resolved this issue over 10, 12 years ago. An approval was given for use of hijab. Now the federal government colleges at the 36 states of the federation and the federal capital. And there's a model for it. So if you go to Akwa Ibom, you go to Delta, visit Enugu or Calabar, you will discover that FGGC there, the Muslim girls who are there are putting hijab and nobody's stopping them.
Unfortunately,
I
we
want
have to
to
wrap
add
up.
that private schools established by the Christians in Kwara, they are using hijab, and the Christian proprietors dare not ask them to remove that hijab because they know Muslim children will be withdrawn.
We have to wrap up, Alhaji. Unfortunately,
Unfortunately,
thank you very much for helping us shed light on this. We can only hope that these pupils will be allowed to write their exams very soon, which is the most important. As Mariam has said, when elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. So we only pray that the pupils are able to get behind us. That's all we can take. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.